I hope everybody enjoys it. I have no idea what the next 12 or 24 hours will bring in the latest chapter of the Steve Kerr, Draymond Green saga. He left the bench of his own volition, getting into it with Steve Kerr during a timeout on Monday evening. A Warriors blowout victory that, they were under 500 coming into the game. They have a blowout win, and then the entire post game is dominated by another Steve Kerr, Draymond Green thing that's, going on year and year and year. And
a blowout win over a good team, by the way, like beating Orlando.
Unexpected blowout win, regardless of the Magic's injuries.
100%.
So I don't even know what to say. Like, Draymond is not having a great year by his standards, but Steve Kerr has pretty vociferously repeated how important he is to them. He did it again. He said two things after the game I found interesting. Bontemps, because you're Mr. Stock Report, you and Slater. One, that even if Draymond wanted to come back in and play, he was not going to play. He basically said, you were not going to play again after that act. And two, he said that we need him. So, which is what he's been saying for years, but he reaffirmed that.
Well, here's two things. One, I was watching NBA today earlier, and I literally gasped when I saw this stat, which is that Draymond Green has 72 made field goals this season, 75 turnovers, and 80 personal fouls, and is the only player who's played at least 250 minutes who has more fouls and turnovers than points. I know he's not necessarily a scorer. However, we have used this phrase with Jimmy Butler in the past and other players. Is the juice worth the squeeze anymore? The juice has been worth the squeeze, arguably, for a long time with Draymond Green in Golden State. There have been times I certainly would have moved on from him over the past couple of years. I would not have kept him around after the Jordan Poole thing personally, but on the record about that. But as you said, the Warriors have stuck by him over and over again. I think it's starting to get to an interesting place because Draymond Green has just not been very good this season. When Steve Kerr says we need Draymond Green, you have to say that publicly because you can't say we don't need him. Otherwise, then things are over. But as the Warriors look ahead to either the next 6 weeks or the next 6 months, and they try to make one final push around Steph Curry, like, let's say they don't make any trades between now and the trade deadline, and Draymond Green's on a $25 million-ish expiring contract this summer, and you could put him and Jonathan Kuminga, if he's still on the team this summer, and some other salaries together to go get a star. Is that not a way for the Warriors to get better? I would argue it is. So I just think we're getting a lot closer to, is it time to move on from Draymond Green in some form or fashion than the Warriors would like it to be? And incidents like this coming up on top of him not playing well this year are only going to speed up that discussion, in my opinion.
They made the decision a long time ago that the production was worth all the pain in the ass stuff. Now, you can argue that that ratio has been thrown out of whack, but I will also say, I don't know that the Warriors, while chasing a very unlikely fifth ring, need to be having another messy divorce with the franchise icon. That's all I'm going to say.
I would just say that the franchise icon is very capable of making it messy himself, and that might precipitate it. That's more the point. Like, it's not like it would be, oh, hey, this guy's a model citizen. We're just going to have him ride it out here, a la Udonis Haslem. Like, Draymond is not. I mean, this is a prime example. Like, it's the third quarter of the game. He just gets up and stomps off the bench. Like, it's just, we talk about anybody else, we'd be like, what is going on? That's crazy behavior. And instead, with the Warriors, like, well, yeah, Draymond's had yet another thing. It's like,
and then you just look up and say, over the course of his career, it's been worth it. Because you're looking up at 4 banners.
That's the calculus the Warriors have made. It's just different when he's not a very good player, which at this point, he's arguably not a
winning streak, and winners of, I believe, 8 of their last 10 games are 18-11 and in third place in the Eastern Conference. Jaylen Brown, who before this season was one of these guys where if you had a fantasy team, you would want him on the team because you knew he was going to be putting up numbers. But he has answered that bell tremendously, and he has scored over 30 points, I believe, in 7 straight games.
I mean, he's averaging 29 and change.
And the one thing about Boston is they've drafted pretty low, obviously now for the better part of maybe 7 or 8 years. I don't think they've had a pick outside. I mean, they've traded away some of their picks. I don't think they've had a pick outside the 20s.
I mean, they've drafted pretty low since they ran through all the Nets picks that they had.
That's right. Well, talk about a team not wanting to draft, 2 years in a row in the top 4. As a team that drafted number 3 2 years in a row when it was a basis for their rebound. It wasn't their pick.
Yes. That's the best way to do it.
Actually, we're first and third too, and they traded back to 3 in the Tatum year.
Correct. So, if you look at the guys who the Celtics have drafted recently and you see how they're getting contributions from them, you look at, so you look at Jaylen Brown, he's having a great season. Derek White has warmed up recently. Peyton Pritchard is, most improved player candidate again. Can you, what's the status?
I wouldn't quite go there, but he's playing well for them. He's a proven very good player.
So, and you look some of their picks, their recent picks. So they're getting good production from Hugo Gonzalez, their first round pick taken with the 28th pick last year. They're getting, rotation minutes from Baylor Shireman. Bobby Marks, I think it was Bobby who just did his top 25 best performing, guys who are outperforming their contracts. He came out with that a couple of days ago.
Top 15. You're mixing our lists up, but yes.
I'm sorry?
He top 15. He had the 15 best value contracts.
Okay. And I know that Nimi Keita was on there. Who they're paying, he's on a minimum, isn't he, Bontemps?
Yeah, he's on a multi-year minimum. Yep.
And I think there was one other Celtic on that list.
I would assume Jordan Walsh was also on the list. I have not read through the whole list.
Jordan Walsh, he was a second round pick.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying here is the Celtics have they've rolled up their sleeves and they've done a really nice job on the margins. And you're not 18-11 without the powerhouse that's Jaylen Brown, but they're getting terrific production up and down. And that's a commentary on, Joe Mazzulla. It's a commentary on their development system. It's a commentary on Brad Stevens. It's a commentary on their front office and their scouts. Forget about what's going to happen with Jason Tatum, because this is where this goes. It's when we Tatum, this is a reminder of how a good franchise handles their business. And, this hasn't been the toughest portion of schedule, but still they're putting themselves in a great position. And listen, Bontemps, I still don't see a team in the Eastern Conference that is going to keep teams awake at night. There's certainly things that the Pistons do that are going to be hard to beat them 4 out of 7. The Knicks continue to put up impressive games, but Boston's got to be sitting there thinking the table is still all there for them. It's all set for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's why I've said a couple times recently. One of the biggest questions of the rest of this season is, can Jason Tatum come back, and what does he look like if he does? Because if he can come back and be even okay and be a bigger body that they could play at the 4 and get some rebounds and make some shots and make some plays, especially for a team that does not have a lot of size, all of a sudden the Celtics are really going to be a team nobody's going to want to play in the playoffs, because they have championship experience. They've got a mad scientist coach who is hell-bent on proving people wrong and has a giant chip on his shoulder in a good way. And I've talked about it before, going back to training camp, those guys had no interest in hearing about, the Celtics should try to get AJ